Hey, what's up everybody? Michael here and welcome back to PlayStation Homebrew News. Today we have a new PS5 system software beta, more details on the renamed BD-JB project, WebKit progress on both the PlayStation 5 and the PlayStation 4, and then several homebrew and emulator updates, and even a bonus Xbox 360 story. So let's jump straight into it. First up, Sony released PS5 14.00 Beta Firmware. One of the main changes is for PS5 Pro users, so enhanced PSSR image quality is now enabled automatically. Sony says this can provide a sharper and clearer image in games that supports the previous version of PSSR. The beta also introduces a specialized turn-off Bluetooth option for esports events and similar environments, and when used, the console cannot enter rest mode and HDMI link is no longer supported. Sony also lists the usual system performance and stability improvements, and for the homebrew scene, the important part is that a new firmware branch now exists. We will watch what changes as version 14.0 moves through beta testing. Next up, we saw that Gezine's Blu-ray project has been renamed from BD-JB to BD-JB5. This is a Blu-ray Userland entry point for the PlayStation 5. It is not a kernel exploit or a complete jailbreak by itself. The public project supports PlayStation 5 firmwares through version 13.42. There is also support work for 13.60, but there's currently no public jailbreak chain for that firmware. Now, BD-JB5 provides Userland access through the Blu-ray drive, but other vulnerabilities is required to move beyond it. Now, you may be wondering over here who benefits the most, and I think that the biggest benefit is for PS5 owners on firmware 12.00 and lower who have a paired Blu-ray drive. So on those consoles, BD-JB can lead directly into Poops and then Payload Manager, and so this means that no P2JB kernel exploit, no roughly 50-minute wait, no Blu-ray unpatched process, and no need to restore a backup and lose data. So those of you that's on firmware 12.01 all the way through 12.70 can still use the existing P2JB chain, but those versions do not need a Blu-ray unpatch. Now above 12.70, BD-JB5 alone does not create a working public jailbreak chain, but on 13.60 the Blu-ray side would also need to be patched before this entry point would become helpful in a future chain. Next, there is a new WebKit progress on the latest PlayStation PS5 firmware. Jordy shared a successful arbitrary read and write test running on PlayStation 5 13.60. A public proof of concept was then shared by CodeButism. So what's cool about this again is that this demonstrates a working WebKit Userland on the latest PS5 firmware. So it is still one part of a larger chain. A compatible kernel exploit would need to be added before this would become a complete jailbreak. For now, the headline is that the WebKit Userland access is working on PS5 13.60 and a proof of concept is available. Next up, regarding a PS4 WebKit Userland, the PS4 has a related development, and that is that UFM42 found a workaround that allows the CSSFontFace exploit to work on PlayStation 4 firmware 13.52. The demonstration shows a working WebKit Userland entry point on the latest PlayStation 4 firmware. Like the PlayStation 5 result, this is not a complete jailbreak on its own. It still needs a compatible kernel exploit. Having the Userland side working on the newest PS4 firmwares gives developers a wider target though for testing and further research. ShadowMountPlus has published a research project examining the USB authentication handshake between a DualSense controller and a PlayStation 5. The setup uses a Raspberry Pi as a transparent proxy between the controller and the console, and the repository documents the USB topology, reports, and the traffic that flows during the connection. The proxy can successfully pass captured USB traffic, but the complete controller authentication handshake does not yet finish through it. This is early research, but the documentation gives developers a detailed view of how the DualSense and the PlayStation 5 communicate. Definitely check out this repo. ShadowMountPlus has reached version 1.7 Alpha 5 with a focus on speed, safer mount handling, and fan control. The release adds a faster path for LVD mounting with a 64 kilobyte batching. Nested PFSC images now use compressed offset caching, which should improve image access. There are also changes around mounting, unmounting, and busy state handling to make those operations more reliable. Finally, users can select automatic fan behavior or set a target temperature between 50 and 91 degrees. Now, this is an alpha release, but it contains several practical improvements for people already following ShadowMountPlus. JTPlay has also received new development work. Recent change improves rewind behavior and a certificate authority bundle for better HTTPS media access. These changes improve two important areas: playback controls and access to network-hosted content. JTPlay continues to receive active playback and networking improvements, so it remains a project worth watching. Now for the weekly PlayStation 5 emulator roundup, KytyPS5 continues to publish automated builds with ongoing compatibility, shader, instruction, and platform work. Now there's several games that they have listed here that you can use, so things like Minecraft Legends and Silent Hill: The Short Message. Now we see over on SharpEmu, it has moved to version 0.0.3 release 2, along with the more fixes and compatibility work. Now there are some examples in this project, and they include the Demon Souls remake, Dream and Sarah, Void Terrarium, and Dead Cells. Now these games are test and progress indicators, not a promise that each title is going to be playable. Both of these emulators remain experimental, but both continue to move forward at an extremely fast pace. And most of us believe that this is due to all of the recent backlash that people have been given Sony over their push to digital. On the PS4 emulator side, Chunky Station 4 is another project to watch. The developer describes it as a work-in-progress hobby and learning project. It can already boot a few simple commercial games, and a separate compatibility repository is being used to track results. To run it, users provide their own decrypted PS4 firmware modules in the sysmodules folder, then launch a game by pressing its folder path to the emulator. The news here is that it's another open PS4 emulator. It's reached the point where it can boot some commercial games, and totally worth checking out. Next up, a project that I've really started to enjoy, which is SaveSyncPSPC. It has expanded its game support, so there has been several new games added for games like Resident Evil 2, Subnautica, and then Subnautica Below Zero. And if you're wondering what it does, this project synchronizes compatible save data between PC and PlayStation versions of supported game, each new title requiring its own compatibility work. So if you play one of the supported games across both platforms, this is a useful project to keep on your radar. SharpProspero is continuing its move towards version 0.6. The repository has received source changes beyond the earlier version 0.5 package, including fixes for the input and controller handling, along with additional runtime improvements. This is not a packaged 0.6 release yet, but the latest code contains progress that has not been bundled into a formal download. Again, you totally want to take a look at this if you're interested in developing using the C# language and working with the PlayStation SDK. I noticed this new project on Reddit the other day, and it was ProsperoPlayer version 1.0, and it says it brings a dedicated media player to jailbroken PlayStation 5. The project uses a custom PS5 style interface and can optionally appear directly in the console's media section. It supports H.264 and HEVC video at 1080p with experimental 4K playback. It can browse movies, music, and images from USB storage. The feature list also includes subtitles, multiple audio tracks, chapters, favorites, seeking, and playback resume. Prospero Patches is one of the more complete new homebrew applications in this episode. To close out on the news, here are some of the latest game listings for jailbroken PlayStation users. On PS5, the latest group includes Rune Factory, Paradise Hotel, Pistol Whip, Animal Well, Dragon Quest, Commandos, and Lust Build a Zoo. And I also just noticed that Beast of Reincarnation has just dropped, and that one hasn't been added to this list yet because it is so new. And then over on the PlayStation 4, the list includes Blood Omen, Legacy of Kain, Blood Omen 2, Medieval, and a bunch of other really good titles. I totally recommend you go check out Medieval. Again, as always, I've left the covers on the screen so you can pause it if you want to take a closer look. And here is a quick bonus story from the Xbox 360 scene. So we can see that Xbox Bad Update version 1.3 has been released, and according to the developer, the exploit now executes instantly with theoretically 100% reliability. So this update includes additional stage 3 work from KMX 360, hypervisor override detection, and a stage 2 ROP chain that uses a ciphertext lookup table. Recovery mode can also restore the stock boot animation file. Now, while this is outside of our normal PlayStation focus, it's definitely something that I would encourage you to take a look at if you've got an Xbox 360 lying around. Okay, that brings us to the end of the episode. What story do you care the most about? Is it the PS5 14.00 beta, BD-JB5, the new WebKit Research, PS5 emulator project progress, or one of the homebrew projects, or maybe even the Xbox 360 story? Leave your pick in the comments. Your answers help me decide which projects deserve a deeper follow-up when new progress appears. If this episode helped you, please leave a like and subscribe for more PlayStation Homebrew news. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Michael, out!